Hey guys, it's Sam with Mag Gear, and today I want to talk to you about Meshtastic devices available in 2025. Since this is a video for the new guys, we're going to start with covering some of the basics of Meshtastic, so what it is, what you can use it for, some of the limitations. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Help us grow the channel by increasing our engagement. So if you are just getting started with Meshtastic and you don't want to mess around with building your own custom devices, this is the video for you. So stay tuned and we're going to go over some of the different features that these all-in-one ready-to-use devices have. For the seasoned professionals and the, well, technically types, this is a simplistic video meant to introduce the technology and some of these devices to people. So per the Meshtastic website, Meshtastic is an open source, off-grid, decentralized mesh network built to run on affordable devices. Now, the way I usually like to explain it is these things are like walkie-talkies, but for texting. There's the added bonus that they can take messages and relay them without you having to do anything. Now, of course, this is depending on how you set them up and what the terrain and range and all that type of stuff is like, but essentially that's what it is. Now, I always seem to get somebody in my DMs or in the comments saying, oh, Meshtastic is a toy, it's useless, you can't use it for anything. And it is important to acknowledge the limitations and the use cases for Meshtastic. The biggest limitations are going to come down to the power and range that you can get out of these devices and the types of messages you can send. With Meshtastic, at this time, you're basically only able to send text messages or I think GPS coordinates as well. But that does not make it useless. In fact, I think that a lot of people could benefit from Meshtastic in the same way that they could benefit from FRS or GMRS radios. So if you're new to Meshtastic and you're thinking of getting into it and you want to get some of these end user devices, but you also want to know where you can go with it, I'll give you a little bit of insight into where I've taken it. So one of the key differences in node types is going to be infrastructural nodes versus end user nodes. So you could get by with just using end user devices, kind of like these. But if you want to cover a wider area, there are ways to make dedicated infrastructural nodes that act as repeaters or routers. Not to say that every node should be a repeater or a router, but only those in very advantageous places. But without further ado, let's start talking about the three devices that I have here on the table behind me. So before me on the table, I have the LilyGo T-Echo, I have the RAK wireless WisMesh Pocket, and then I have the LilyGo T-Deck Plus. Go ahead and point out on the LilyGo T-Deck Plus, I have added an external antenna, which is not the configuration this device comes in. I just updated that recently. You'll also notice each of these have identical antennas. So these are actually ZBM2 Industries mesh goosenecks. So one of the first things I always like to upgrade on my Meshtastic devices is the antenna. And ZBM2 Industries makes really good Meshtastic antennas. In fact, that's one of the big weaknesses of Meshtastic devices out of the box, is they usually come with, let's see, you can see right there, this type of antenna. They usually come with one of those. They're cheap. So if you want to get something that immediately makes your Meshtastic device better out of the box, I would go to ZBM2 Industries and order one of these antennas at the same time that you order your device. I will go ahead and point out that I'm not sponsored by ZBM2 Industries. I just really like the antennas that Derek makes. Top quality stuff, top quality guy. Now I'll go ahead and start talking about the differences between these devices. Starting with screens, for the LilyGo T-Echo, the screen is just a 1x1 inch e-ink paper matte finish screen. The Pocket has a smaller, kind of the classic screen that you see on Meshtastic devices. And then over here for the T-Deck Plus, you have your bigger full color screen. And of course, I have the Meshtastic user interface installed on this device. So you can see that we've got a lot more options. So for these two devices, you're mostly going to interact with them using a cell phone as the interface. Connect one of these devices to Bluetooth, and then all of the settings, all that kind of stuff, you're going to change inside the Meshtastic app. The difference with the LilyGo T-Deck Plus, and really just the T-Deck in general, is that with the Meshtastic user interface installed, you can do most things just using the device itself. So you can go into settings, you can change all sorts of stuff. You can type here on the device. So there's a lot of pros to be had with the LilyGo T-Deck Plus. So if you're okay with using your phone as the end user device, these two devices would be a good way to go and a good way to start. But if you really want the device to be an all-in-one end user device, you really need to consider the LilyGo T-Deck Plus. Next, we'll talk about form factor and quick self-plug here. As far as form factor goes, we all know, or at least a lot of us know, how big a Zin can is. I actually make Meshtastic devices that fit inside of a Zin can. So you can go to madgear.shop to buy one of these. I make them right here in the Mad Gear studio, and they come in a couple different configurations. You can either get a kit, you get it fully assembled, or you can just get this 3D printed chassis. But back to the main event here. We have the LilyGo T-Echo is a little bit smaller than the WisMesh Pocket. I hope you can kind of see it here, but the WisMesh Pocket here is the thickest of them all. So if thickness is something you're concerned with, you definitely need to take note of that. As far as height goes, the T-Echo is the shortest and the T-Deck is the tallest. As far as width goes, the T-Echo and the Pocket are roughly equivalent, and the T-Deck Plus is the widest. Now, I also did a quick little teardown of each one of the devices just so we can look inside and see what we're really working with. So we'll start with talking about the batteries in each one. For the T-Echo, we have an 850 milliamp hour battery. For the Pocket, I believe this is a 3200 milliamp hour battery. Was I right? Oh yeah, I was right. 3200 milliamp hours. So that's roughly 4 times larger than this battery. And then for the LilyGo T-Deck Plus, we have a 2000 milliamp hour battery. So battery life for each device is really going to depend on how you use it and what kind of settings you have set up. If you have GPS set to always pinging and your device is always sending out pings, you're going to run your battery down a lot faster than people who turn all of that stuff off. But in my experience, the Pocket is going to have the best battery life. The T-Deck Plus, I can usually get a good day of battery out of it, so even though it does have a lot of features that take up a lot of power, it's still pretty good battery life. So I wouldn't shy away from the T-Deck Plus if you're concerned about battery. Next, we'll go ahead and talk about power buttons. So at first glance, the T-Echo might appear as though it doesn't have like an off switch or on switch. But as you can see here, it says it's in sleeping mode right now. So I held this button down. I think it was for, I don't know, 7-10 seconds, something like that. And it goes into sleeping mode. And you can, of course, wake it back up by pressing the buttons again. But the other devices have your traditional just switches. You can see this one here. And, of course, this one again. One really kind of brilliant strength about the LilyGo T-Echo is that you can charge it and keep the battery on while it's sitting in this upright position, which of course, a vertically oriented antenna will tend to be the best polarization. The other two have their charging ports on the bottom, and for the most part, that's fine. It's usually not a big deal. But I just thought I'd go ahead and point out the fact that the T-Echo has it over here on the side, which is helpful in some cases. Going back to the device teardowns, I'll go ahead and point out something that each one of these has. So you can see this here, and this here. So each one of these has GPS. If you end up making your own devices down the road, a lot of them you're going to have to put the GPS module and antenna on yourself, which works pretty well with RAK Wireless. But I also just wanted to point out that when you're making your own Meshtastic devices, GPS is not always guaranteed. So depending on your use case, if you want to save battery life, or for some reason, if you decide that you don't want GPS connectivity or you don't want your device to be able to get GPS coordinates, you could always either unplug this GPS antenna, or you can make your own device that you know for sure does not have GPS capability. So now I want to talk a little bit about price point for each one of these devices. So this T-Echo, it costs about 75 bucks the last time I checked. The WisMesh Pocket is going to run you about 90 bucks, and the LilyGo T-Deck Plus will cost you about 95 bucks. In my opinion, 95 bucks for the extra capabilities that you get with the T-Deck Plus is a no-brainer. The keyboard, the ability to use it as an end-user device, the touch screen with settings and all that jazz definitely wins in my case. So we actually sell each of these devices on our website. We have a partnership with Rockland, who supplies us with all of our Meshtastic radios. I'll go over some of the use cases for these devices. So anywhere you could see yourself using a walkie-talkie for short-range comms, you could probably replace them with the Meshtastic devices. So last November, I actually set up a Meshtastic repeater, and I got a bunch of LilyGo T-Decks and gave them to each person in our party for a hunting trip. So the cool thing, the benefit of these Meshtastic devices for our hunting trip was that it was all silent communications. So we could message each other without having to worry about spooking any of the deer nearby. There was no cell signal, so this was essentially an ad hoc messaging network that we built for this situation. And we were able to get about a 3 mile radius around the repeater, so we had pretty good range on the messaging network. With more repeaters and a better, more advantageous placement of nodes, you can get more than a 3 mile radius, so that's not the limitation here. But there are a lot of similar scenarios that you can use these Meshtastic devices for. Well guys, I hope you found this introduction to some of the all-in-one end-user devices useful. Leave a comment if you could see yourself using these devices, or if you have any questions about Meshtastic. If you want to get any of these devices, I'll go ahead and put some links in the description. We've got them all on our website through our partner Rockland. Thanks for watching, and if you want to get more organized about your communications or your preparedness in general, go ahead and check out our website, madgear.shop, and our app is about to launch pretty soon here at the end of the month. So keep your eyes peeled for that. If you want to get notified about our upcoming app, just go to our website, find the app page, and enter your email, and you'll be notified. Thanks for watching.